least it's something. Um, so the Acolyte returns in Marvel's Star Wars comics. Fans of the show claim it's not enough. Of course. Maybe if people actually watched the show, you'd be getting a season 2. But nobody watched it. The numbers were terrible. The story was terrible. The acting was terrible. So while all these people sit there and complain and say, "Oh, it's just phobes and isms," no. If you keep going to that, the writing and the characters will never improve because you're just giving these people a reason, an excuse to continue writing crap. If you don't hold them responsible, you can't just say, "Oh, well, at least we have something. It may be crap, but at least we have something." And if you say anything against it, you're phobos and ism. No, how about you start holding these multi-million, billion-dollar companies to, accountable and saying, "Hey, stop writing crap. You're taking characters, you're taking black characters, and you're writing them in such a way that they're just bad. We want genuine representation. Stop writing bad characters." But no, instead it's you leave big corporation alone, you fat incel. So as long as people to defend it, they defend it, and the companies are just going to keep doing it because it's like, well, what reason do we have to write better? We have an overly paid writing staff, and we're a multi-billion-dollar company, but why should we have to write better? Clearly, everyone doesn't have a problem with the writing right now. No, people do have a problem with the writing. It's just anyone who does have a problem with the writing is just passed off and listed as a phobe, ism, far-right extremist, incel, basement dweller, you name it. So these people never actually have to claim any of accountability. They never have to claim any accountability at all. It's a nice little shield that you've got there. But yeah, maybe if the show was better, people would have watched it and would have gotten season 2. But the story was all over the place. The plot didn't make any sense. The characters, cardboard cutouts of the characters, would have had more personality. But anyway, Marvel has unveiled plans to feature characters from the Acolyte on upcoming Star Wars comics for Black History Month. However, fans of the canceled Disney Plus show have claimed it's not enough. Another example of why you can't placate the mom. Marvel learned an interesting lesson this week when it announced plans to dedicate 4 Star Wars comic book covers in February to black characters in celebration of Black History Month. However, fans of the Acolyte, a group known for its laid-back attitude or willingness to express a group not known for its laid-back or to express gratitude, fire back at the Disney-owned publisher for not doing more outside of comics. An upcoming issue of Star Wars comic book Legacy of Vader will feature the Acolyte's mother, Anastasia Amadeus. Well, rock me, Amadeus. The leader of the lesbian space witches at the center of Disney's widely panned Star Wars show. February's issue of Star Wars: The High Republic Fear of the Jedi features both May and Osha, the twins played by Mandela Stenberg. No one cares about them. I mean, they're so bland and boring, sometimes you can't even tell which one's which. They're just, again, cardboard cutouts have more personality. It's Lando. Note that the Acolyte characters appear only on the variant covers of these comics. They won't feature in book stories. Marvel's will also feature Lando from Star Wars Original Trilogy and Vale, who was apparently a character from Star Wars Outlaws. Anyone can confirm that? I don't think anyone played Star Wars Outlaws long enough to see all the characters. The failed video game from Ubisoft. Mace Windu from the prequel trilogy and Finn from the sequel trilogy are not featured whatsoever. Despite fan sentiment toward the sequel trilogy, many fans see Finn in a favorable light and believe the character received a raw deal in the tug-of-war battle between director J.J. Abrams and Rian Johnson. Mace Windu is, of course, a hugely popular character with legions of fans. Yeah, I mean, Samuel L. Jackson. I mean, come on. I've had it with this motherfucking dark side in motherfucking space. Um, but yeah, Finn. I was gonna say something, but they've got Lando, which, I was gonna say, oh yeah, of course, Finn and Mace are men. If you notice, all the other characters are like basically they're black women. They're black women. But I mean, Lando's there. So I had to look it up, and apparently Lando is actually pansexual, which would probably explain why both Finn and Mace were left off, because I believe they are both straight males. They're cis males, heterosexual cis males, which would explain why they were left out. Because despite being a male, he's pansexual, which is, oh my god, stunning and brave. So stunning, much brave. So, I mean, you kind of have to wonder, why are all these black females listed? Why is Lando there, but then Finn and Mace aren't? It's because they're straight. It's because they're straight. And Disney doesn't give a crap about straight guys. What they could be black, it doesn't matter. They don't care about them. They want more of the promotion of not only black, but people who are outside the norm. So naturally, the black women are because they're strong and powerful, but then Lando because he's pansexual. So yeah, Mace Windu is of course a huge popular character with legions of fans, and yet these two were overlooked in favor of characters who perhaps the two of the most widely panned Star Wars projects ever made, the Acolyte and Outlaws. Apparently, this is Vale. I don't know. She doesn't even look familiar. Again, I don't think people actually made it far enough in Outlaws to meet all the characters, unless this was like someone from the beginning. I've never seen this character before, and I've seen so much about Star Wars Outlaws. One might assume the fans of the Acolyte, who apparently do exist, if online tantrums following the show's cancellation are to be believed, would be happy about this. However, outlets like Feminegra seem to think it's not enough. While comics expand Star Wars narratives, fans and cast members have made it clear that they want more. More, 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 more. The outlet said in its official write-up, Marvel's celebration of Black History Month is a step forward, but Lucasfilm and Disney Plus must rethink their approach, transitioning the Acolyte into additional seasons or new media formats would be better than meet the demand. Okay, again, if it was really in demand, then people would have watched the show. There is a reason why it's not getting a season 2. It was a terrible freaking show, and people keep saying that there's a demand for diversity, but there's not. Just in video games, it's been shown 95% of gamers don't give a crap about diversity, and yet they keep pandering to the small 5%. And then they wonder why the games fail, saying, but people want diversity in gaming. Apparently they don't, because no one's buying the games that have the diversity in them. And when I say that, I mean poorly written diversity. Black characters, trans, they're fine. Whatever. Humans exist of all colors and creeds. That's not the problem. But they're always terribly written. You would think people who want diversity, these overly paid writing staff of these big corporations would be educated enough to know how to write a good character who is also diverse. But apparently they can't do it. They can't do that. Instead, they turn those characters into stereotypes and props and just poorly written characters that no one can really see themselves in, or relate to. It's like, oh boy, they're black, which just like me, but that's really where it ends. I don't see myself in them at all, apart from the skin color. So people aren't complaining about the diversity. It's the fact that these characters are poorly written, and people have been saying this for long enough, and yet that part always gets written off and ignored. No one is saying no diversity at all. And if they are, they're the extremists, and if they're the extremists, and they should be condemned completely. But normal people saying, if you're going to do diversity, do it right. Okay, just make them good characters and make them well written. These companies seem to think that a character being gay or trans or black or whatever is enough for us to care about them. If you're watching a movie and you're going to be watching that movie for 2 fucking hours, you need to give us a reason to care about this character apart from how they identify or their skin color. If we're going to be following a character through a game for 100+ hours, we need a reason to care about them apart from, oh, they're trans or they're black. I mean, I don't know what's so hard about this to understand. And yet constantly you get people coming out with like, oh, you're just a transphobe, you're a homophobe, you're this. Are you even listening to what people are saying, or are you just looking for a reason to hate? Seriously, are you even listening? Because we're sitting here saying diversity is fine as long as it's well written. You're like, oh, you're saying you don't want any black people, you're the fucking homophobe and racist. So clearly they're just looking for reasons to be pissed off because they're obviously not listening. But they can sit here and say that, demand for diverse stories. No one is, apart from the people who are chronically on Twitter, no one is clamoring for diverse stories. Because we know how those diverse stories are going to go. They're always terribly written characters. Comics alone cannot satisfy the desire for representation and compelling storytelling in a galaxy far, far away. Then maybe you should write your own. The Acolyte was canceled because the show had a bloated reported budget of $230 million, as uncovered by the Park Place and UK tax filings. The high cost didn't meet demand, with the show pulling abysmal ratings and falling off the Nielsen chart for the top 10 original streaming series in the 5th week. However, apparently because of the demand for diverse stories, Disney should, according to Feminegra, shell out more shareholder money to produce a show with virtually no audience. Yeah. I'm smart. We got Bunny with the keyboard. Just think, before the Acolyte, fans figured the Force wasn't male or female. Now they have it being used to impregnate women, thus proving that the Force is male. Who's buying this tripe? Where were those fans when the show did worse numbers than Andor? Oh, right. They're too minuscule in number to keep the show from being canceled. Yeah. I didn't even finish it. I read the reply. The fact that it got any views at all shows there is an audience. There is an audience for this tripe. It's just so insignificant. It's not worth pandering to. Well, to be fair, one of the 3 fans was on vacation when the show was released. Where's the representation of Wookiees? But yeah, you give them an inch, they take a mile. So oh my god, thank you for all the representation for this for Black History Month, but we demand more. And again, I also think it's kind of odd that the 2 straight males are left out. Instead, it's all females and pansexual Lando. Weird. But anyway. Yeah, maybe if you watched the show, it wouldn't have been canceled. You'd be getting a 2nd season. So, there's that. Um, But anyway, that's going to do it for me. You guys know the drill. I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.